Your eyes do not deceive you. Yes, it is 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And yes, it is a Tuesday. And we have a familiar face, but he's not familiar to Tuesdays. That's right. We've shaken it up a little bit. We got my guy Carsen in to talk some football. And so, before we get into it, did want to mention all the things we're doing. Today, we're going to be talking more football centric. We're going to talk about Jordan Love. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, the whole 9 yards. But did also want to bring up, we're still doing the EA Sports College Football 25 giveaway to one of our first 500 subscribers. We're at 336 right now. That is where we're at. Some of you very familiar with that area code if you're in this part of the world or another part for some reason. And so we will have a huge show in store for you today. Be sure you get in this giveaway for one of our first 500 subscribers. You'd be entered into it. Carsen, we're going to play a video package right now. And after that, we'll introduce everybody to a new face for Outta Pocket. Without further ado, let's get started. It is time to get out of pocket. And yes, we got a new face on Out of Pocket. He's wearing a Packers jersey, but would you like to formally introduce yourself, my friend?
I had to wear a Packer jersey for you. I'm Izac with Fun Football Podcast. How are you doing, dude?
Doing pretty good. Happy to have you on here. Don't necessarily love the jersey, but I guess it's fitting with the topics we have on. This is, by the way, if you are watching live, this is very, very like tricky waters I'm floating in today because I'm a Cowboys guy. And I'm sorry. I got Izac, who's a Packers fan. He runs the Fun Football Podcast. And we got Carsen, who's also a Packers fan. And we announced not too long ago that he'll be doing a Green Bay Packers specific podcast for Boom Broadcasting. And you can comment, by the way, if you're watching us live, this is why we do the live streams. You can comment, be a part of the show. Derek saying, what's up? Happy Tuesday from Derek. Looking like a Mark saying, be careful. He's also a Cowboys fan. So I should have just brought him on instead of two Packers guys, but we'll see how it goes. I got roasted yesterday by Jackson when we were on about college football game day. Was not too happy about that. But it's okay. We'll hopefully get to humble Jackson very much so when it comes to this EA Sports College Football 25 giveaway. I'm not getting it. I've already got the game. So it wouldn't do me any good. I'm not even in the running. Carson's not in the running. But the Boom team brought our resources together to give this away. So it's to our first 500 subscribers. If you're watching us now for your first time ever, just pop that subscribe button. It's totally free. Why not do it? And Jackson's watching us right now. He said, I'll see you soon, Michael. Yeah, you'll see me, but you won't be happy that you saw me. And that's why he's not on the show today, because I didn't want to give him a platform to keep roasting me. Going back and saying he could beat me blindfolded, that, my friends, was Out of Pocket. But one thing I do want to bring up is we got, college football 25, the giveaway right here. I don't even have a graphic for this just because it's kind of wild. The NFL is thinking about making the season 18 games. They just moved from 16 to 17, and now they're going from 17 to 18, presumably. They're meeting about it. People think they're closer to that in general. Izac, this is your first time on here. You're a Packers guy, but you cover all of the NFL with your podcast on your channel. Are you expectant that we could get an 18-game schedule here in the NFL soon?
Yeah, I was surprised actually when I saw that it said by 2030, because I think that I think it's going to be within the next 2 years. It would make sense for them to cut out a preseason game and add a game in, which would probably push college a week earlier, or they would just stay where they're at. I think they would honestly just start the weekend after Labor Day. Let college football have that first week. It kind of builds up the NFL as well because everyone gets excited. But I think they want it because they want it to end President's Day weekend. I'm a teacher. There's a lot of industries that have that day off work, and it'd be easier for a lot of workplaces to have the Monday off. So I think they absolutely want it. I think they'll have 2 bye weeks in there, so they'll have to add a weekend somewhere. So like I said, they might actually start Labor Day weekend, and they'd probably have to go to 2 byes because 18 games and only 1 bye week, I just don't think would work. So I think where the players will get their way is they'll get an extra bye week. So it'll be a 20-week season, and I think they'll only have 2 preseason games. This is all the rumors I've heard. I don't know any I know a few writers on Twitter, but I didn't hear it from them. I've just been hearing the rumors over and over, and I think that's the direction they want to go. I think the players will be down if they get that extra bye. I think that's what it comes down to. But I think the NFL wants it. Goodell wants that for a lot of Americans to have the Monday after work off, so it's a holiday. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm down for some more football, as long as they do it in a way where somebody doesn't have a bye week 4, and then they have 16 more games after. That's a whole season. So there needs to be 2 bye weeks.
Dude, absolutely. Like a bye week, 4 or 5 weeks in just doesn't do too much.
No.
And it'd be really disappointing to see players get hurt because having that extra game. So yeah, 100% would need an extra bye week. Also, shout out to you being a teacher. I used to work with youth at one of my previous jobs, and it's a task. And I got to play games. I didn't get to teach all those things.
Nice. What'd you do?
I worked at a summer camp for about 7 years.
Yeah, I ran a few of those in my 20s. Yeah, I ran them for a few years while I was 4 or 5 years. So yeah, I feel you. Actually, 6 years when I lived in Arizona. Yeah, so I did it for a long time too. Very cool, dude.
That's kind of the interesting part of how I met Carsen. I was actually at Boone, my alma mater at App State, and was promoting that camp I was working with at the time. And then I taught to Carsen's class, and then I definitely got off topic. I definitely got off subject when it came to, promoting the camp, right? And Carsen's like, hey, let me pop on. And dude, he's ran with it. He gets his own podcast. Some either is saying 4 W's, just the amount of wins the Giants will have this season, or he did 1 extra W and was trying to put a link. I don't know what it would be. Derek saying that make sense to have 2 bye weeks and a very short preseason. Carsen, what do you think about this development? Do you think this would go well? Because there's pros and cons. One of the cons I'm thinking about is what happens to these guys on the roster bubble having a less preseason game to prove their worth to a NFL franchise.
That's why the NFL is kind of there is so much stuff that's surrounding it. You've got preseason games and you've got bye weeks. If it were me, I would just keep the schedule how it is now. I think that I like the amount of preseason games we get, and like you said, people who are on the bubble, they have a chance to shine and kind of stuff. And so I like that, and I think that they deserve it. And I could see the having 2 bye weeks. And honestly, I like that. If we do add an extra game, then I like the 2 bye weeks. But football is a grueling sport. It is a difficult sport to play. And just even 60 extra minutes of football, 1 extra game, it sounds little, but it could have it could have catastrophic consequences. It just adds to the injury probability of some of these guys. And then we've already got turf that has already taken our players out, and the NFL won't do it. It really seems like the NFL isn't prioritizing player safety recently, and I think that this could be part of that. I mean, 1 extra week is an extra week of money, So I understand what they're doing, and if they have 2 bye weeks, then I would be okay with that. But then you have to shorten the preseason, and I don't know. I think that they should just keep it how it is. I think that we've got a formula that works, and that works for everybody.
Yeah, and This is definitely just, there's so many pros and cons to this. And Mac even saying would help to expand the rosters to help cover injuries.
Sure. Absolutely. They would have to. They need to go up to 60 anyways. It's just not enough. And I know they do it to be tough on teams, but with practice squads. But yeah, man, Michael, you're right. Mac's right too. They need to do it, seriously.
And then some saying W's in the chat. God know the streaming lingo if you're going to be that guy from Outta Pocket. He's what a guy right there. I will be that guy from Outta Pocket, and might as well go ahead and throw a Outta Pocket take. None of my takes are out of pocket. And Carsen knew exactly what was happening. Hopefully I can convince Carsen to hop back in because he probably knows where I'm going with this. Jordan Love right now holding out for a contract in the Green Bay Packers organization. Carsen, you came back to hear my my take. I got worried because I thought you were probably understood where I was going with this one right here.
No, I have no clue. Keep on going. I need to hear it.
Okay, so Jordan Love, holding out for a contract with the Packers organization. But man, I mean, yes, the Packers probably financially want to go ahead and solidify a quarterback under contract before the market gets pricier and pricier. But at that time, I don't think Jordan Love has proven himself enough. Okay, we've only had a small sample size with Jordan Love to say, hey, he is the guy to move the Green Bay Packers organization forward. We had Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. And Jordan Love just might not be that guy. Jordan Love might not be a dog that some is saying right now in the comments. Okay, I don't necessarily believe in Jordan Love. There's too small of a sample size. We need to see more before the Packers just hand him over $100, $200, $300+ million. Carsen, you're already making a face at me. Why?
Yeah, I just completely disagree with you. Jordan Love is clearly the future of Green Bay, and there should really be no question. He's holding the keys to this team. Over the second half of the season, he was not just one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He was the best quarterback in the league over Patrick Mahomes, over Lamar Jackson, anybody. He was the best quarterback in the league the second half of the season. And I think it's inevitable that he is going to eventually hold the trophy in Green Bay. We just have to get him there. I think you have to pay him. I don't think he should be the highest. It's coming out that he might be the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. I don't think that should be the case. We've seen 8 great games and 9 pretty good games. But to me, that's just not enough to justify giving him that much money, more money than anybody else in NFL history. But I have no question that he's our guy. I have no question that he's going to be holding the Lombardi Trophy one day.
I mean, that's the reason why I wouldn't put all this money invested into Jordan Love, because you don't know if he's the guy and can put a team on his back. You don't know if he is a game manager, even though I hate that term. I hate that term because there's no such thing as a bad quarterback in the NFL as a game manager. If you're winning games, that's very important. But Derek's saying he's only played one full season. He does have a good upside. Izac, are you investing all that money into Jordan Love right now to get him back?
I wish they could have gotten him on a 2-year deal last year, on a 2-year extension instead of 1. But the amount of money he's getting paid this year is super cheap. He's only making $13.5 million. And if you look at last year, the last 11 games, he averaged almost 270 yards, so 265, 25 TDs, 5 interceptions. He won a playoff game his first game. He was the number 7 seed and destroyed the Cowboys. Didn't play great in San Fran, but he already won a playoff game. That's more than a lot of Justin Herbert hasn't won a playoff game. Trevor Lawrence won 1, and he got the bag. So the problem here is that I think Love has more upside than Trevor Lawrence, who was a number 1 pick, and he went out and got over 250. So it's just kind of he does. Trevor Lawrence hasn't had as good of a season as Love just had. Love had 32 TDs last year. I think they're both overpaid. I would have rather kept him in the 40 range, but I think Love definitely has more upside than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is just a guy. He's the number one pick. Trevor Lawrence, watch this shit. Trevor Lawrence is, and I'm not trying to be cocky here. I think Love has upside to not be just a guy. But Trevor Lawrence is one of those number one picks like Baker Mayfield, where it's not a total bust. Like you get, Ryan Leaf was the number 2 pick, but you get the Jamarcus Russells that are total busts. Then you get those number 1 picks that hang out in the league and they start, but they're rarely a Pro Bowler and rarely a difference maker. And then you get the number 1 picks like Peyton Manning that are Hall of Famers. Trevor Lawrence isn't in that upper class. He's just not. I could pull up his stats, but he made 1 Pro Bowl? He has won 1 playoff game. He's at 4 years. He actually severely regressed last year. He was banged up. But when Christian Kirk went out, he really fell off a cliff. Like in fantasy, he's like mid. He's like 16. He's kind of mid, if I'm being honest. And Baker Mayfield had a better year than Trevor Lawrence did last year. That's kind of ridiculous. But Jordan Love, to me, has top 10 upside. I would put him on the fringe if I'm being unbiased, but I definitely think that he's like above a Trevor Lawrence right now. I wouldn't put him above a CJ Stroud in fantasy. I would, because he was better last year in the red zone, but I think CJ Stroud is definitely better than Jordan Love. My take would be I would pay him 40 to 45 mil. That's less than Jared Goff just got. But the problem is you can't pay a quarterback that's starting that has Pro Bowl potential less than 40 to 50 mil now. It's just the market. It sucks. I don't want it to be the market, but if you go in there and insult him with a 4-year, $160 million contract with the season he just had, he's going to walk. So you're kind of tied. But no, I absolutely think he has better upside than Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence has kind of proven who he is.
Well, your first appearance on Outta Pocket, that was definitely Outta Pocket. Max saying the previous year Lawrence was best over back half of the year. Sound familiar there. I don't know if he's making a dig at the time that we went to the Jaguars game and Trevor Lawrence absolutely came back and destroyed, putting the Jaguars on his back and beating the Cowboys in Jacksonville, or if it was the just the insane white hot back half of 2022 that he had that proved to me like he can carry a team. And Trevor Lawrence, like, look what he's had to deal with. Like, he had Urban Meyer, Darrell Bevell, and Doug Peterson. That's 3 head coaches since 2021. Like, that's tough on anybody.
Can I interject? He's had 3 years. He made the Pro Bowl 1 year. He's had 1 season with a winning record, and they went 9-8, and they did win a playoff game. He hasn't thrown more than 25 TDs in his 3 years. And it's not just raw stats. You got to take, that stuff into account. But 3 years in, would you feel good about paying him over 250? For real, I got to ask you, man. Would you? The contract he just got, how much did he get? He got 5 years, $275 million and 142 guaranteed. Let me throw this proposal at you. If you were going to sign one guy to that deal, would you rather sign Trevor Lawrence or Jordan Love? Seriously.
I would sign Trevor Lawrence because there is more of a sample size. Carsen.
But his sample size isn't that great. Like, in 16 games last year, he only threw 21 TDs and 14 picks. They were 8-8 last year. He wasn't even that good.
I think I'm higher on Jordan Love than either of you guys. Trevor Lawrence just hasn't shown this like superhero stuff that we have seen from Jordan Love just in the back half of this season. And to me, like, that's where Jordan Love just has the edge. Jordan Love can do things that Trevor Lawrence can't physically. And I would take Jordan Love, but I think I'm higher on him than both of y'all, right? Izac said that he's a fringe top 10. I've got him top 10, no doubt. I mean, I might have him as high as 7 or 8. I mean,
that's
in the NFC,
he's about 8
he's
right now.
In the NFC, he might be my number 1 quarterback. I mean, who in the NFC is?
Michael's like, I think this too.
Sorry, hang on. Well, no, actually, yeah, I don't know who in the NFC.
I would still say Stafford because he won a Super Bowl and he made the Pro Bowl last year.
I would take Stafford is probably
and Jalen Hurts is a heck of a runner. So if you're including running and he got to a Super Bowl, like they fell off last year, but people are having a little bit of amnesia. He was in the Super Bowl the year before. No, not Dak, dude. No, Dak, no way. Sorry, Dak is a choker.
In MVP voting.
And what did Dak do in the playoffs? Hold on, wait. What has Dak done in the playoffs his whole career? He's won 2 playoff games and he's 30. Jordan Love has played 1 season as a starter and already has 1 win. And Trevor Lawrence, not that I wasn't coming on here to slander Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence had as many turnovers last year as he did passing TDs. 21. I'm sorry, man. Like, that was not a great deal. Like, the environment matters, but he was terrible as a rookie. Pretty good in 02. He was banged up last year. But what is that sample size doesn't scream potential perennial all Pro Bowl level player. There's at least 5 quarterbacks in the AFC better than him, probably 6, and 1 in his own division. CJ Stroud already looks better than Trevor Lawrence does by a mile.
Here's what I'll say, and James saying Jordan
I had to, man.
even though Dan Quinn was on his way out and just decided, hey, let's not play man coverage, let's play zone coverage for the first time the entire season. Max saying Dak's been consistently good against bad teams, and he look at Dak last year against Buffalo. He completely choked. Dak, I live near Dallas. Dak is a choke artist. He's like Kirk Cousins. He plays great against terrible competition. And then last year against Buffalo, what did he do? 150 yards, 2 picks. What did he do against San Fran? Nothing. What did he do in the first half against Green Bay? He threw 2 picks, and he gifted us a third one the guy dropped in the first half. Dak is one of those guys that's a front runner quarterback that'll throw 4 TDs against Washington, and then against San Fran, he's going to choke. And that's what he did last year. I'll say this because the way, and we've covered a lot of quarterbacks. We've covered Dak. We've covered Trevor Lawrence. We've covered Jordan Love. We could be talking about this until we're blue in the face. But I will say this, the same shade you are throwing at Trevor Lawrence, both of you right now, the same shade you're throwing at Trevor Lawrence. Okay. We could be saying the exact same thing after Jordan Love gets his money because you're like, oh, it wasn't enough of a sample size for Trevor Lawrence. But it's not. He only has played 1 year. I give him that. Like, I don't want to go pay the guy 50 plus, but if Jared Goff got 53 mil and he turns into a pumpkin under pressure, what are you going to pay Jordan Love, who definitely has more arm talent? What do you do? Like, you're kind of stuck. Like, do you let him go? You drafted him, developed him for 3. The problem is, I agree with you. I don't want to pay him this, but the Packers are going to have to pay him this. They don't have a choice. It sucks. If my dream role, they'd pay him like 40 to 45. There's no way they're going to get away with it. I was hoping under 50, but at this point, did you hear the rumor? They offered there's a rumor that he's going to make 5 years, 280. He's going to get more than Trevor Lawrence just did. I've heard that from multiple sources.
Neither of them are capable of being Trevor Lawrence and Dak Prescott. Neither of them are capable of being the best quarterback in the league for half of a season. Neither of them. Jordan Love did it in his first year as a starter.
Now we got to give Dak credit. He was great last year.
He can't be better than Patrick Mahomes for an entire half of a season. He can't be better than Josh Allen for a half of a season. They can't do it. But Jordan Love did in his first year as a starter with, people forget this, the youngest offense in NFL history. No number one receiver, as people are calling it. But Jordan Love, I mean, and Matt LaFleur is an incredible offensive, like he's an incredible play caller. But Jordan Love was doing things that other people simply can't do.
All right, Mike. Here's the deal.
Not gonna.
And I interrupted you, and I feel bad. I'm sorry. I'm not getting on this one. I promise. I'm just going to say a little tiny thing, and then I'm going to shut up. Dak last year, if you take out those 3 of those NFC games where he threw 12 TDs, and if you
let's take out when he was actually good, is what you're saying.
Okay, but then you would have to take out when he was bad, like against Buffalo, against San Fran. He wasn't great against Arizona. I know he was missing 2 offensive linemen, but Jordan Love was missing his best receiver, his second best receiver, and his running back for most of the season. So, like, you can't give me the injury thing. I just can't do that. But Dak, the problem with him is it isn't just 1 year. When has he really shown up in the playoffs other than that Tampa Bay game against that terrible Bucs team? Give me one playoff game. I need one. Give me one.
That terrible Bucs team that had a really
No,
good
no. They were
defense?
the one that was 8-9 the year after that won the NFC South back the year before. Yeah, they had Brady, but they were 8-9. They were terrible. So they shouldn't have made the playoffs. That division was terrible. They just won their NFC South. I need one good Dak playoff game since his rookie season. And we're running at almost 10 years now.
Dude, that's why
I got it in front of me. I already knew this. I've actually talked about it, and I don't want to just slander Dak, but he's 2-5 in his playoffs in his career, and in his playoff games, he had 2 picks in that game, and it looks good because he threw 400 yards, but it was after the game was over. The game before that last year, he threw only 200 yards. He had 2 picks against San Fran. Didn't show up. They just needed more than 12 points to have a game. He was great against Tampa Bay. Good job. They weren't good. They were terrible. The year before that against San Fran wasn't awful. 254 yards, a TD, and a pick. That's a decent one. They lost that game, though. The year before that against the Rams, 266 yards, not bad. A touchdown, no picks. It's not bad at all. Against Seattle, he won. The game before that, he actually did even worse than he did in the Rams game. And then he was amazing against Green Bay, against Rodgers back in 2017. 300 yards, 3 TDs, only a pick. That was his best playoff game other than the one against Tampa Bay. It's not all of his fault. Jerry is a lot of the problem. Jerry is the problem. Dak is a manifestation of the problem, and I've lived under the Mike McCarthy era in Green Bay. He is not a good enough head coach. So Dak would probably be better off somewhere else. He needs to go to like Miami or get out of Dallas. He ain't going to win a Super Bowl here.
You know what's so funny though is like, and after this we'll get to Aaron Rodgers. I promise, guys. The funny thing is if Dak Prescott was literally on any other team, he wouldn't be getting this slander. And that's true. 100%
yeah, because he's the Cowboys quarterback. Yeah, and the Cowboys bring it on themselves. They talk about it every year. I'm going to hear guys at work when the Cowboys, even though they had a bad offseason, after they smashed the Giants, and if they smash the Commanders again, which they may not this year, they're better. But if they smash the rest of the NFC East, which is a weak division other than Philly, and they go beat up on these terrible teams like they did last year, all these Cowboy fans are like, it's our year. And then they play somebody good and they just.
Wow.
I have no problem.
Last year. I
have no problem with teams being, with fans being optimistic about their teams. You know, like, I'm never going to hate on anybody for that. What I will say is that when you're playing in Dallas, like, you just have to be ready for that. You're going to get more hate. You're America's team. You know, like, that's going to come with being in Dallas. That's just what happens. But I just Michael, don't know how much more.
He's frozen. Can you see him?
I can hear him. Can you finish?
I can hear him. I can't see his face. Okay, no worries.
It's okay. Y'all don't need to see my face. But I just don't know how much talent Dallas needs. They've got more than Green Bay. You know, you have a top 5 defense. You've got, like, people are saying that they've got one of the best wide receivers with CeeDee Lamb. Like, how much talent is necessary? And I know they have a bad coach, and I know their owner is a train wreck. But how long until it's just not how long until he's not the guy? You know, how much do you have to have until he's not the guy?
You could put anybody but Patrick Mahomes would fail there, unfortunately, because Jerry doesn't build around the fringes well enough as a GM, because he's not a GM and he wants to win his way, and he won't hire the right coach. He had it once after Jimmy Johnson with Parcells, and he only lasted like 3 years in the 2000s. Jerry wants to win his way, and that's why he's not going to win a Super Bowl. It really comes down to Jerry. Dak is just another quarterback for them. They had the same problem with Romo, who threw up some great seasons for him. Yeah, it just stinks because That's just the way it is.
Yeah, we'll get Carsen back in here, kind of refresh his cam.
Sorry, fire take for you, man. I'm sorry. I had to. I'm sorry.
Hey, you're out of pocket with that one, but it's okay because you know what's going to happen is I just launched and partnered with Fans First Sports Network to launch an entire Dallas Cowboy.
You did. You partnered with Fans First. Nice, dude. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Dude, I've seen them on Facebook. They're pretty legit. That's awesome, dude. Seriously.
Dude, they're super exciting. I've been writing articles for them for, a while. I have done a Panthers podcast with them in the past, but of course my heart is with the Dallas Cowboys. So actually having a podcast with my dad now called Dad and the Boys. We dropped our first episode. It will be available here on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel, in addition to the audio feed through Fans First Sports Network. So I will say you probably riled some people up. We'll probably have to address that on the Star Study.
Oh man, I gotta say this. I in like February, and it was right after my had a family member pass away. So unfortunately, I had to go take a little break after I was in a bad headspace. Basically, it's my aunt, but she's basically my mom passed away. So that was unfortunate. But I had a take go viral, and when I said the Cowboys shouldn't pay Dak, and they haven't on Twitter. And I wasn't really just trying to go for clickbait. I legitimately don't think the Cowboys should pay Dak $60 million, but I also don't think the Packers should pay Jordan Love $56 million a year. It's too much for a quarterback. The only quarterback that's really worth it is Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow can beat him, but I question his health. I wouldn't pay any other quarterback over 50. I don't know, Michael, if you've heard about this. There's a rumor that the GMs and the owner, I think it's the owners, I've been talking with the players and GMs. They want the quarterbacks to count not against the salary cap anymore. They want to have a separate thing for just the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I've heard that. Carsen, Carsen, do you think that's even a good idea?
No, I don't think any one player should be getting that much money. I understand that the quarterback is the most important player on the field always, but I just think that when like the Packers right now have other needs, they have other places that need to be filled, and that's going to cost money. Like, I just don't think that you should ever put that much money into one guy. It's not like basketball where you can give one or two players a bunch of money and still be a successful team. Like in football, you have so many moving parts that all need to work. And if you put all of your money into one guy, like it barely worked with Patrick Mahomes this year, and I don't even know how it did. Like, I don't know how he overcame that awful receiving core, but it worked. But that is just
Super Bowl after Tyreek Hill. It's ridiculous, right?
I don't think it'll happen again. If it does, then I am just losing faith in anybody else like winning. I don't think it'll happen again. Like you just have to have a well-rounded team to win, and we saw it happen this year, but I don't think that it's just gonna. I don't think that is something that can be replicated very easily. You gotta pay everybody, not just one person.
Yeah,
this is good stuff, man. I like it,
dude. It's kind of crazy. Thinking about how much, like, imagine recording this and looking back at this in 10 years and seeing how much the quarterback positions evolved, or salary cap, or how many games we have.
They're going to have some special thing for the quarterbacks soon. Like the running backs might also too have their own deal. I think they're going to start doing like different positions count like only so much. It's kind of like bird rights in the NBA, where you can overpay a guy if you've had him for so many years. I think the NFL is going to structure salary cap slightly differently, where it'll still be a hard cap, but I think players in certain positions will only count so much against it. Because what's a quarterback going to make in 10 years? 125 mil? 150 a year? Something like that. But how much is the NFL going to be making? If our podcasts are like doubling and tripling in viewership, and the NFL is continuing to see these stupid streaming numbers and record-breaking like their playoff games, what they were getting, How much? Where's the NFL going to be at in 10 years?
That's that's kind of crazy to think about. And you could ask yourself if this episode is going to age well. You guys know we have done a famous segment to end all of our shows called That Aged Well. And I wanted to bring this up while we have the Packers guys on. We talked about their current quarterback, but let's mention real quick their former quarterback, because Aaron Rodgers is saying his goal, obviously, is to win a Super Bowl for the New York Jets. Isaac's already laughing, so I probably know where he's thinking this. Carsen, you've loved Aaron Rodgers for years. Could it be possible that Aaron Rodgers delivers the first Super Bowl to the Jets since Joe Namath back at Super Bowl III? Carsen, what are your thoughts?
No, I don't think it is. And last year, like 1 year ago, I was sitting here saying, like, don't sleep on the Jets. You know, Aaron Rodgers won two back-to-back MVPs 2 years ago. Don't sleep on the Jets. Garrett Wilson is really good, and he's been very good with Zach Wilson. Don't sleep on the Jets. Look at their defense. Don't sleep on the Jets. I think we missed our window. It's really, really hard to come back, especially as a quarterback, from an injury like that. And especially when you're, he's like 41, 40. Like, that is a really, really tough injury. And it kind of sucks. Like, I really think the Jets had a pretty good shot last year with how weak the rest of the NFL was. It was a down year in the NFL. And the Jets could have been great. And then, just a freak injury. But I just think that now they're at a place where it's like they had a 1 year window and it's past. You've got teams that are just on the up and up. You've got Packers and the Texans, and then obviously you've got the superpowers like the Bills and even the Dolphins, I guess.
Cowboys.
No, I left them out for a reason. But no, I just think that the Jets' time is done. And obviously, as a quarterback, you're always going to say, "I'm bringing a Super Bowl." You're not going to say, "I'm not going to win." But I think that the window is up for them.
All right, the window's up for Carsen. Izac, by your laughter, I don't know if I said a funny joke or if you're just laughing
funny.
at the
That was hilarious, man. That was so funny. I love that. That was great. I actually really liked their offseason. They got some guys that are injury prone in Mike Williams and his name's eluding me, Tyron Smith. But I love the Reddick pickup from the Eagles. That was really, really smart. But here's the problem. You got a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles. Mike Williams is injury prone as heck. So is Tyron Smith. I think that they're honestly, I did all 32 teams. I had them at 10-7, and that's being generous with the health stuff. The AFC East is wide open, but the AFC is not. The Texans are better. The Ravens are better. The Chiefs are better. I would argue the Bengals, if Joe Burrow is healthy, are better. You still got the Browns with that defense. Arguably the Steelers, although I don't trust Russ, but that's debatable. But I got 4 or 5 teams already. I'm sorry. Rodgers is going to be 41. That's a big injury. I'd be concerned about Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles, and he's 5 years younger. The window is past. Plus, if we're being the last time he played with the Packers, I know he lost his best receiver, his quarterback coach, and his OC. And he was dinged up, but he didn't look special with us 2 years ago. He is 2 full seasons removed from MVP level Rodgers, and that clip in the NFL.
I think he was checked out.
Yeah, but the clip in the NFL. Yeah, that's fair. He probably was to a degree, but the clip in the NFL is you hit that so fast. It's unlike other sports where you're just when you're done, you're done. If you remember Brett Favre, he was an MVP level candidate last year with the second to last year with the Vikings. The year after that, he threw 10 TDs, 17 picks, and the Vikings went from almost making the Super Bowl to just falling off. And Favre was 40 that last season, hit 41, and just boom, cliff. The only guy that didn't hit that cliff at 40 really was Tom Brady. But I think Rodgers is done. Maybe you get a decent one season out of him, but I'll be shocked if he's really starting for more than 2 years. And he got hurt in 4 plays last year, guys. Is he going to make it through 16 at this age?
That's what I'm worried about.
I wouldn't draft him in fantasy at all. I would stay with him around quarterback 15-ish, but he shouldn't have made the NFL top 100. That was stupid for 3 snaps. Come on. The thing that gives them a chance is Breece Hall is special. Garrett Wilson is special. Mike Williams is a second receiver, is solid. And they've got some players on that D. Sauce Gardner, Hassan Reddick, Mosley. You've got some studs on D and on offense. But it comes down to quarterback, man, in the NFL. It always has.
And Derek made a really good point about the things the Jets got going for them is that defense, especially and Hassan Reddick. I'm glad the Cowboys won't be playing Hassan Reddick twice a year now because he was wreaking havoc. They have Sauce Gardner as well. Like, Jets have a good D. They have some weapons on offense. If Breece Hall can come back, they have Garrett Wilson. I feel like Aaron Rodgers, if mentally he's there and physically he's there, then this could be a playoff team. Super Bowl, really out of the question. But I just, the physical aspect and the mental aspect makes me doubt that Aaron Rodgers can bring a Super Bowl to the New York Jets. But again, that's why we call this segment That Aged Well, because I mean, we could look back in 7-8 months and be like, man, this aged well. We all doubted Aaron Rodgers, or maybe Aaron Rodgers is watching this and is like, I'm going to prove these 3 guys from Outta Pocket wrong. Even though that none of my takes are ever out of pocket, but Izac had a few today. If
fit the show.
Huh? What'd you say?
I said it fit the show. It's called Outta Pocket. I had to give you some Outta Pocket takes.
That's fair. As long as you realize you're wrong, that's what matters. But it's been a fun time. We had the overrun from the people in my ear saying that's about time for your overrun on this 30-minute episode. Time flies by when you're having a great time. Guys, for real, seriously, you've been seeing it scroll on the bottom while we've been on about this College Football 25 giveaway. We're doing it for one of our first 500 subscribers. So subscribe, share it with your friends. The quicker we hit that 500, quicker we get to give this game away. Super excited to share it with people. Some saying the guy is out of pocket. I don't know who you're talking about because you're obviously not talking about Michael Davis. And he's throwing up the dubs in the chat still from start to finish. He's been watching with us. So shout out to you. Appreciate everybody who's been listening. Get yourself a part of this giveaway. And by the way, if you've already got in College Football 25, that's okay, because we're going to do more giveaways after the 500. So you want to stay and make sure you're a part of those. Go follow my guy, Izac, the Fun Football Podcast. And if today's any indication, yes, his podcast is a lot of fun. Carsen will be starting the Lombardi Party here soon, talking more Green Bay Packers. So he'll have a whole platform for that, just like I now am doing the Star Study Cowboys Network for Fans First. And we're also uploading the video feeds on Boom Broadcasting. The first episode dropped today. Dad and Du Bois talking about what's going to happen in training camp. Will CeeDee Lamb show up? But most of all, Micah Parsons and these trade rumors that are absolutely ridiculous. But I'll vent on that a little later on. Tonight on Boom Broadcasting, mouthing off with Mike, hosts the Nightcap for NXT. 200 subs on his channel by the end of the month. He has to shave his beard into a dirty Dom stash. And it'll be quite the time. We need, he's about 60 away too, so we need to get him for that. And we've taken the last few Thursdays off. Right there. It's such a good giveaway. So good. Go get the dirty Dom stash. I want to see it so bad. We've taken the last few Thursdays off, but I have good news. Outta Pocket will be back Thursday, exclusive to Boom Broadcasting. And Summers with more Outta Pocket takes. using cheeseburger things, and now it's dinner time, so I'm hungry. So for Michael Davis and Izac and Carsen, this has been Out of Pocket, and we will see you back here on Thursday. Hit that subscribe button, show some love to us.